going to be a very quick tutorial about what we do next once we get an offer under contract. Where do we go from here? So we're going to cover a real quick coverage of Skyslope and some email templates. So I emailed Amy last night and hey, let me know that you got this. Well, lo and behold, today we get an accepted offer. So there's a lot to do once we get under contract. But first and foremost, right now, if you haven't received a checklist from contract to close, email me right now and let me know to send you that PDF file, because I've got a very thorough checklist that will make sure you don't miss any of these steps. But let's move on. So from here, we want to open our Skyslope. So we come over here, I'm at my dashboard, view our transactions, and here's all my pending transactions. But we're going to create a transaction here with the green button. And if you use Skyslope forms, you'll be able to find it there and it should all populate very simply. I do not use Skyslope forms, I use dotloop, so I have to go through a few extra steps, but we're going to go look up the address. Let me go over to the MLS. I'm just going to highlight that, Control C to copy, come back to Skyslope, search for the address. Here it is, boom. Gotta select it. I don't know why they make you select it twice, but there it is, and it all popped right in. Now it wants the MLS number, so that's why I've got the Maris tab open. I'm gonna right click and copy that. Gonna paste it back in, make sure it's all filled out. If there's a co-buyer's agent, I would add it here. Our sales price, wait, it's a measly $110,000. The source was actually a Zillow lead, so I'm going to go other, enter the details, and Zillow. That way they know to pay Zillow at the end. Is it an office lead? No. The acceptance deadline was today. Checklist type. We are in St. Louis. Here we go. Sales, St. Louis residential, single family only. You can see that there's separate for condo or commercial lots, land, things like that. But we're a single family. That's the SF. There we go. We are purchasing and the year built. They ask that because if it's before 1972 or 1973, you need a lead-based paint. So the closing date on this one, I don't remember. Let's go to dotloop and look at our loops. Go back here. So you can see here all of the forms that were needed in order to get this deal done. The screenshot is his proof of funds. I've got a copy of the MLS flyer that he initialed. I've got our buyer's agency agreement, the EXP documents, which is the affiliated business and wire fraud. I've got our residential sales contract. I've got a rider for the condo. Since this is actually a condominium, we had to have an additional rider for a condo. I've got my CCD, the cooperative compensation disclosure for commission. And then I've got the seller's disclosure, the lead-based paint. And then I went ahead and added the rules and regulations and declarations from the HOA. We came over here because I needed to know the closing date. So we are closing on August 13th. Okay, back to Skyslope. Closing on the 13th. There we go. That's nothing. We're good to go. Everything's all filled in. We hit the next button. Everything's looking good to me. This is where I hand it off to my transaction coordinator. I don't fill any of this in, but if you're not using a transaction coordinator, I use the Closing Pros, which if you want an introduction, please email or text me. I will introduce you to the Closing Pros. I would suggest that you do your first 3 to 5 transactions completely on your own so that you know and learn the system. But once you're busy and your production is up, a coordinator will save your life. So you need to enter in all this information and it'll lead you through the tabs as you go. Hit the save button and go to the next. But because I'm using my coordinator, I'm going to leave all of this for them. So I will show you another transaction because since Villa Dorado is incomplete. You can't see any of its documents. A lot of these, there are no tabs up here. So all of these are my listings. Most of these are listings. This is really the only sale I have. It's new construction, but let's go look at it just for an example so you can see what it's supposed to look like. See, there was no MLS number, for example, but this is what it should look like. Once you get all your information entered, your base information, you'll see all these tabs populate across the top. So like the contacts, that's going to be where you entered all your title, your lender, all that stuff. Commission, you're going to see here, this is where you enter your sales price. You're going to add if there's any splits, if you owed another agent any referrals, that type of thing will go in here. And if you scroll down to the very bottom, you'll see that if there's anything odd, any commission notes you want to add, they will type back to you and answer you if you put things in here. They will communicate pretty well with you. But if there are commission splits that you had outlined at the beginning, like your team split, for instance, this would be your name. Say you've got, Joe Smith, I get 50%. Say this is a Zillow lead and we get a 50-50 split. Trish Wolf gets 50%, Joe Smith gets 50%, and then you can see they will be able to see exactly how that commission is supposed to be broken down. Then the checklist and the documents, they kind of go hand in hand, but here's what the checklist looks like. And it's going to show you all of the things that you need, and you will see what's required in red. It turns green once you've fulfilled it, but you can see that this is your checklist of everything they expect. An easy way to upload your documents, and take the tutorial, you guys, because they will do a much better job in the tutorial. But you go to documents and you can upload one gigantic PDF file and ask it to split. So say all of this was all in one giant document, I could come over here and tell it to split it. And when you tell it to split it, it's gonna try to make sense of it and open it up. And since this is just one document, it's probably gonna think I'm pretty stupid. It's probably why it's taking so long. But you can see that it's like, oh, maybe page 1 is this. Well, see, look, it doesn't even know what to name it because it doesn't even know what it is. But you can split it up and you can name it page by page and create different files out of a larger document. But again, take your tutorials so that way you know Skyslope inside and out. So one thing I will point out is transactions and listings are 2 different tabs at the very top. So you can see these are my listings that aren't under contract yet, and then these are my transactions. Once you have a listing that has gone under contract, it switches to a transaction, and then it's all in one spot. So the next thing we're going to do once we've got Skyslope open is we are going to email, I'm going to email my coordinator. I'm going to email the closing pros and let them know this is in Skyslope so they know that it's open. This is a Zillow deal. Okay, there it is. Send it. The next email we're going to send is this nice little template right here. And you'll see that I've got my information under listing stuff and selling stuff because I use the same template whether I'm buying or selling. So this template is going to go to my coordinator. It's going to go to the agent on the other side of the deal, their title company, and if there is a lender, it will also go to them. You put the address. Anytime you're emailing another agent or a lender or your coordinator, always put the address in the subject because it's such a pain in the butt when you get an email from an agent. You have no idea what they're talking about. So here's my template. Yeah, that's Ville Dorado, under contract, yay! So here we are. Hey y'all, please include my TC and all correspondence, very important. Docs attached. The only documents I'm going to attach to this are the actual offer package, no disclosures. You never want the lender to see the seller's disclosure because you don't want underwriting to have any red flags. So we're going to send them the residential sales contract, in this case, the condo rider, if there were any appraisal riders, things like that. That all goes into this email so that it's all in one nice little spot. And you're going to see well, this is going to change. This will be Amy Stokes of Remax. I don't know if she's got a transaction coordinator. I honestly don't even know her title company. I don't know anything about her. Another note that I like to put is we're not ordering a home warranty. There will not be a survey. I like to put my commission amount in here so that way nobody misses it. I also like to put the transaction fee, and we're going to put $315 to the buyer. But I always like to make sure that there's as much information in this first email as possible so that nobody has any excuses later on down the road of why I didn't get my $315 or why I didn't get my commission. I always like to be in as much control as possible. So let's get rid of this one. So then the next template that I've got goes out to the client. So this one, we've got Vildorado under contract. I've got the closing pros CC'd here. This is going to go just to my buyers or my sellers. The template can be used either way, but it's going to say, let's change this. Ralph, please meet the closing pros. They're going to be working on our deadlines. Now, if you don't use a coordinator, then obviously this is going to change, but you still want to send out an intro email of what's next. And I do have another template for next steps, but usually I'm going to send out 2 emails initially to my buyer or my seller. First of all, introducing them to the closing pros. This is going to change obviously to $1,000. We're going to send your documents. We're going to help them with utility concierge service. It doesn't look like I'm doing that much, so let's just delete this. I don't want to look like I don't work for a living. Expect correspondence from myself, the title company. Let's change this because it's going to be investor's title. Trust funds and closing pros. One Source is a free utility concierge service. If you have never been introduced to One Source, let me know. I would like to hook you up with them because it's just an invaluable free resource. And if there is, say, a municipal occupancy that's required, they also help with that and say, they'll give them like City Hall's address and all the different little phone numbers that they need to, contact people for utilities. They only help buyers. They do not help sellers to disconnect their service. But this is a great service. Email me right now and tell me you need an introduction to One Source so we can get you hooked up with an account. Everything is free, so don't worry about that. All right, you are closing with investor's title. There are a few things. Let's see. We do have an inspection. Make that bold. Make it red because I don't want him to forget about it. And one of the reasons I really like using investor's title is because I can use the trust funds link. And let me just show you that really quick. So if we go to Maris, you see this little icon here. You can click that, and then that allows you to select your title company. Not all title companies subscribe to this, but for like $5, you can automatically get an ACH debit for your earnest money. You send the email to your buyer, and they can do their ACH debit directly and save themselves a trip to the title company. So anyway, this is what we've got. If you have any questions, let me know. But basically, you get under contract, you open up Skyslope, you notify your transaction coordinator if you have one, you send out some intro emails, and then you start a file with that checklist so that you know every single thing you need to do from beginning to end, and hopefully nothing will fall through the cracks. And that's it. Good luck, you guys.